notebook checks, but you get to use your notes on your tests in this class. When you say you get to use your notes on the test, that means you get to use your notes on the test. You don't get to use your friend's notes. You don't get to use your neighbor's notes. You get to use your own notes. So it's your job to take your notes and get those done. Does that make sense? All right, so today we're going to talk about transformations. What does it mean to transform? To change. Good. So if you think of like Transformers, the actual like robots, right? Robots in disguise. What do the Transformers change from? Cars to robots. Okay? If you go through a transformation at the end of like Princess Diary, or not at the end, in the middle of Princess Diaries, she goes from being like kind of a nerdy schoolgirl to a beautiful princess. Okay? So transformation means to change. So it's ways to change points lines or objects. All right, got a lot of talking going on. Let's get focused. Okay, Carter, you are so chatty. Shh. Just stop talking. There you go. Okay, so as we look at transformations, one thing that's going to be really important is what we call a pre-image and an image. What is that prefix? When you think of pre-image, what does that prefix pre mean? Yeah, before. So this is our before. Or our starting. Now, I've always heard it being called like post-image. In math here, we just call it image. So it's a pre-image and just image. And image represents the after. Or it's like the ending. Okay, so as we look at this, when we do a pre-image, when we do points, we always use a little dot for a point. And what kind of letters do we use with points? Lowercase or uppercase? Yeah, uppercase. So if I say like point H, do an uppercase H here, that's going to be our pre-image. But when we do an image, that's going to be, we're going to say point and then H. We need to let our reader know that these come from each other. This H comes from this H. But we need to know that, let our reader know there was a change. We changed it. So in order to let our reader know there's a change, we put this little apostrophe at the top. Usually like you see those apostrophes in English class when you do like apostrophe S for possessive. We do that little apostrophe and we call this H prime. Okay, those of you that like Transformers, the robots in disguise, that's easy to remember because Optimus Prime, right? Okay, but we say call this H prime. This would just be H. All right, today we're going to talk about 4 different types of transformations. And again, we're just doing a quick idea about it. We're not going to write down the definitions. We're not actually going to be graphing it. We're just going to talk about the idea of it. Okay? So with your thing here, whatever your shape was that you cut out, Everyone have their shape they cut out? Need one? Okay, find your shape. If you lost it, find it. On one side, label it front and one side back. So you know which side is the front and which side is the back. So just label one side front, one side back. All right, we're going to start with a translation. So we have 4 that we're going to learn today. First one is translation, and this is going to go in the order that we're going to learn them when we do our notes. So to translate something, all of us have worked with a translator at some point probably in our life. What does a translator do? Yeah, it helps you understand it. It changes the language in a way that makes you understand it, either in like ASL or to a different language. Okay. But when we talk about translation here, it means that we're going to move in a direction. All right, so what we're going to do here is you're going to, kind of on the left side here, we're going to just be tracing our shape. So if you need to cut your shape down so it's a little smaller, you can. But we're going to trace that shape, whatever your shape was. Carter, why do you talk so much, bro? Alright, so this is going to be our first shape. So we're going to start by calling that shape A. And then a translation really means that I'm going to take this shape and I'm literally going to just be moving it over. So I'm going to take this shape, I'm not going to turn it, I'm not going to move it this way. It tells me to move to the right. So I'm literally going to take this shape where I had it drawn, and I'm going to move it to the right, and then I'm going to draw it over here. Now it looks like exactly the same shape, but this shape is changed. It came from shape A, and we did a transformation to it. So we're going to say A prime. Put that little tick mark up there. Apostrophe, if you will. All right, and that's what a translation means. Now, it didn't have to go to the right. It could have gone up. It could have gone diagonal. But we're not changing the way that this shape looks. It's going to stay, the front is on the front. We didn't flip it over. The top is still the top. The bottom is still the bottom. Does that make sense? Translation. All right, we're going to do one more on this page, and then I'm going to run out of space. We're going to do a reflection. All right, now if you think about your reflection in the mirror, if you're wearing a shirt that says something and you look in the mirror, is it easy to read what your shirt says in the mirror? Yeah. It doesn't look exactly the same. What changes in a mirror when you look at I would look at writing? Yeah, it's like flipped, right? So that's what reflection means, is to flip it. Okay, to flip over a line. All right, so again, I'm going to copy my shape here. I'm going to have the front. Okay, so trace your shape. All right, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to flip it. So as we flip it, we're going to take this, and right now it says it's the front. I'm going to flip it so it's on the back. Okay, so here was the front. This is where we started. It was like this. I'm then going to flip it so it's on the back and move it a little bit over. Now, some of your shapes you might be noticing, if you had some symmetric shapes, your shape looks the same both directions. And that's okay. Today's just the intro. It's all right if it looks the same. All right, so we would call this, I don't know, J. That's our beginning. And then this would be J, and then we use the little prime mark. What is the prime mark again? Yeah, just one apostrophe, just on the right side after. All right, in the middle here is going to be the line of reflection. So whatever you can kind of find the middle, this is the middle line. That's where we would draw that line to reflect it. In your practice on ALEKS today, you're going to be drawing this line. What's going to look like is there's going to be kind of a blue shape and then a dashed shape, and you're trying to get those shapes to match up. So you'll put in a line to kind of get that reflection going. It'll be a little intuitive. You'll figure it out. All right, 2 more. You guys are crushing it. Okay, I'm going to flip the page. I'm out of room. All right, next up we got rotation. All right, rotation. All right, what does it mean to rotate something? What does rotate mean? Sorry, Mohammed's not sitting in the right spot, but it's fine. Tomorrow you'll move. That's where Shayla's seat normally. I just didn't get a chance to tell you. All right, what does it mean to rotate something? Yeah, to kind of not to flip it around, but to turn it, kind of to move it on its corner. So I like to use the word turn rather than flip, because with flip, I think rotation. I'm sorry, with flip, I think reflection. For rotation, we're thinking our turn. So we're going to turn an object. Good morning. Akila? Yep. Akila? Where did Akila go? Akila! 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 She's got headphones in.
Give me a good time to talk to her about that.
Alright, so as we draw our object here, I'm going to have the front facing forward still.
Put it in the middle.
Yeah, I'm putting mine in the middle. Alright, let's call that W. Okay, and now I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do about 90 degrees here. So for 90 degrees, what that means is I'm taking this. I'm going to zoom out for a second. So if you're still copying, pause for a moment, take a look. All right, if I take this, I'm going to turn it about 90 degrees off to the side here. So the front is still the front. We're just taking it and we're rotating it about 90 degrees to that side. Okay, and that would be W prime. When you put W prime, you can write it normal or you can flip it sideways. That kind of sometimes helps to show the idea that it's switched, kind of turned on its side. All right, we have one more to do. Last one is dilation. A lot of times you hear about your pupils dilating. Okay, that's if you go to the eye doctor or if you ingest something, sometimes your pupils dilate. Dilate means that your pupils are getting either really big or really small. Usually when your pupils dilate, the black part of your eye gets really big. Kind of freaks people out. So dilation means we are making it bigger or smaller. Making the object bigger or smaller. So this one is one that we're going to have to kind of do our best guess on. We're going to start by just tracing our object. Let's call that, I don't know, B. Now, to make the dilation, we're going to just have to do our best guess here. We're going to just kind of draw this shape. Whatever your shape is, try and draw it in a little bit smaller. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Remember, today is just kind of the big idea. You're either going to be making the shape bigger or smaller. This one, we're making it smaller. All right, that is it for our notes today. So try to keep notes short in this class as much as I can. There is a practice.